Quick question. Have you ever started automating something, you got halfway through and you realized you have no idea what you're actually automating? Yeah, me too. And everyone watching this has probably done it at least once. Today, I'm going to talk about why that happens and how to fix it, because the solution is actually simpler than you think. Here's what usually happens. You've got a repetitive task. It's boring, it's super annoying, and you do it every week and you're sick of it. So naturally you think, I should automate this. And what do? You jump straight into thinking about tools. Should I use Python, Bash scripts, maybe a fancy workflow tool? But here's the problem. You're trying to automate a process you barely even understand. Not because you're not smart, but because repetitive tasks have this funny way of making you zone out. You've done it so many times on autopilot that you never actually really studied what you're doing. And that's why your automation keeps breaking in weird ways. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Pick one annoying task that you do regularly. I don't care what it is, just one. For the next week, every time you do this task, I want you to slow down and write down every single step. Open application, whatever it is, click the button, wait for it to load, copy this value, paste it here, and here's the key. Pay attention to the moments where you pause, where you have to think about something, where you have to double check something. Those moments, those are the places your automation is likely to break. Those are the places where you're using knowledge that's in your head and not anywhere probably in documentation. Write those down and especially be careful with that. Let me show you what this actually looks like. So let's say you're documenting a weekly report process. You might write step 1, open the dashboard, but that's not detailed enough. What you really want to do is say step 1, open the dashboard and put a specific URL. Wait for the data to load, usually 10 to 15 seconds. You'll probably discover that what you thought was a 5-step process is actually closer to 20 steps with multiple decision points. That's why your first attempt at automating it failed. You were trying to automate 5 steps when the real process has 20. Imagine you have to just task someone who just started yesterday at their job. They have no idea about any of the systems, the workflows, or your company's weird quirks. What do they do if something doesn't load? Are there steps that only work at certain times? What does success actually look like? If you can't answer any of these questions clearly, you don't understand the process well enough to even automate it. And honestly, sometimes when you do this exercise, you have to talk to a coworker and discover that they do the same task completely differently than you do, which means your automation would break for half the team. Good thing you found out now instead of after you deployed it. Now look, I know you're thinking, this sounds tedious. I just want to automate the thing. I get it. Documenting a manual process isn't the most exciting thing in the world. But here's the deal. You're going to spend time on the thing anyway. Option A, you could spend a few hours doing the task manually and documenting it carefully. Then spend a few hours building automation that actually works. Or option B, you can do it like you've been doing it, which is to spend a few hours building an automation based on how you think the process works, then spend weeks debugging why the automation fails randomly. Which would you rather do? Now, I've done both, and I can tell you, option A is probably going to be a lot faster and a lot less frustrating for you. Plus, and this is important, sometimes you'll discover that the process itself is broken and no amount of automation is going to fix it. You need to fix the process first, then automate it. While you're doing this manual mapping, look for these specific things. 1, where do you have to wait? Waiting for data to load, waiting for approvals, waiting for overnight batch jobs to run. These are often your best automation targets because they're purely just a waste of time. And 2, where do you make decisions? If X, then do Y, otherwise do Z. These can get tricky. You need to make sure your automation can handle all of these edge cases, not just the straight path. And 3, where do you use the knowledge that's not written down? If it's in someone's head, it's not in your automation. Yet these pain points aren't bugs in your process. They're features. They're the reality of how work gets done. And your automation needs to respect that reality. Here's something else. Even after you automate something, you need to come back and check it. After your automation runs for a week, ask, did it actually save time? Did it create any new problems? Are people working around it instead of using it? Because sometimes, and this is uncomfortable to admit, sometimes your automation makes things worse. Maybe it's too rigid, or maybe people need more flexibility that you didn't even account for. Maybe it's handling common cases, but falling on edge cases. Maybe it's technically working, but nobody trusts to see if they're double checking everything anyway. The only way to know is to stay close to the process after you automate it, at least for the first few weeks. Build in checkpoints, ask for feedback, be willing to adjust or even roll it back if it's not working. Look, automation is powerful. If you can save tons of time and reduce errors, by all means, go for it. But only if it works, if you're automating something you actually understand. So before you write that script, before you set up a fancy workflow tool, do yourself a favor. Do the task manually a couple of times. Write down every step, every decision, every weird exception. If it feels like you're wasting time, trust me, you're not. You're building a foundation that'll make your automation actually work. Manual first, automate second. That's the order that works. Now for your homework. Pick one repetitive task this week. Just one. Document it, then come back and tell me in the comments what you discovered. I guarantee you will find something you didn't expect. If you want more practical tech strategies without the hype, subscribe to Thoughtful Techie Cloud right now. Thanks for watching. Go slow down so you can speed up. And I'll see you in the next video.